We're back. We're back here after a vacation. It was a delicious vacation for me. But we're back to talk about football. I know I did not take my computer on vacation. Therefore, there was no show during the time that I was on vacation. But I'm back. I'm here. And let's talk about what happened with Real Madrid and Naples in Champions League. Let's start. Muy bueno, mi gente, aquí nos encontramos nuevamente en otro programa de Fútbol con Bambam.
Dentro del área, golpea Petit, Zidane y gol. Ha marcado Zidane el 1-0 para Francia.
Welcome everybody, and here we go. This is Futbol con Bambam, and yes, we're back. We're actually back to talk a little bit about what we all love. We love football. We love about this part. It was very interesting because I went back to Puerto Rico to the warm weather. I'm actually back in the States. It's actually lower than 30 degrees, so it's cold. Imagine coming from 86 degrees to less than 30 degrees. It was brutal for me for the first 2 days. However, we're back right here. We're actually coming inside. We're talking a little bit about football, what happened this week, what Real Madrid and Naples actually played in the Champions League. And we saw a victory of Real Madrid 4-2 in Santiago Bernabeu over Naples, which brings Real Madrid to solidify the first position in the league, in the group, and it's going to pass to the next level now to the round of 32. So what's going to happen in this moment is we're going to see right now, I said 32, but it's just 32 teams. It's round of 16, but it's the same thing. What's going to happen right now is that we saw that Real Madrid has a big, significant amount of players injured. We've seen, and we spoke about in our last show, that Eduardo Camavinga is injured. We saw that Vinicius Jr. got injured during the national team games. We saw that Jude Bellingham couldn't play with the national team because he had a shoulder injury. We saw that Dani Ceballos was actually coming back for this game, back from injury. He's been out injured for a couple weeks, so we had to see exactly how he come back to play a little bit, if he was still in rhythm or not in rhythm. We know already also that Kepa also was injured, who is expected to play this weekend coming up, but he was also in the injury list. So therefore, there's been a lot of key injuries in the team, and we had to see how Ancelotti can work with a lot of these injuries. We know that we don't have a Tchouaméni. We know we don't have Camavinga. We know we don't have a Vinicius Jr. We know we don't have a Militao, Courtois, Kepa. We know we had a lot of injuries, and it was at one point, it was actually a total of 10 players injured in the squad of Real Madrid. Now we're talking about that we have a squad of 24 players and 10 of them are injured. Man, that is challenging for any coach to come inside and compete, to play every 3 days and to be able to compete with all these challenges that are up ahead. However, this is how Real Madrid came out. Lunin came out in the goalkeeper. The defense was actually Dani Carvajal, Antonio Rudiger, David Alaba, and Ferland Mendy. We've seen in the midfield, Toni Kroos going to mid-contention, Dani Ceballos, Federico Valverde in the corners of the midfield, and then as a striker midfield or a front midfield or center midfield, whatever you want to call it, Jude Bellingham was right there in that position. Now, we saw as a striker, they put Rodrigo Goes where Vinicius Jr. goes on, usually on the left-hand side, and then we have Brahim Diaz in the right-hand side. Now, Brahim Diaz, minding that he couldn't play the weekend on the team because he was also sick and was feeling a little bit of muscle aches also as well. He wasn't injured, but he was feeling a little bit of fatigue in his muscle, so therefore we had to leave him inside. We didn't have availability with Luka Modric because Luka Modric got hurt this weekend also as well because of fatigue, muscle fatigues. So therefore, there's very limited amount of players, and it was opportunities for kids in the second division team from Castilla, Real Madrid Castilla, to come inside and be able to see some matches. Now, we saw on the weekend that Gonzalo came inside and played in Real Madrid, so he was mass ecstatic because he was getting an opportunity to play with the first squad for the first time for himself. Today, we were seeing that actually Nico Paz was going to be debuted if he had an opportunity to play with Real Madrid in the Champions League, which he did. And we will talk a little bit about him later on in the show. Now, let's start with the show because we saw that Naples was visiting Santiago Bernabeu. Naples was coming inside. Giovanni Simeone is actually one of the young prospects. He's the son of Cholo Simeone, and he's one of the young prospects that was actually promising his father prior to the game that he said, I will score a goal today. Well, guess what? Minute number 9, he scores the first goal for Naples. He opens up the score in a goal that it was actually the Hawkeye system that actually was the one who conceded. This is the one. This is actually the sensors that are located inside the goalpost that it shows if the ball actually went inside completely. This is a technology that is used usually in ice hockey and things like that. And we know already that it goes or does not go inside. In this case, it actually reflected on the ref in his watch and is attributed a goal. And therefore, Giovanni Simeone gets a goal. Because in that same play, when he hits it, Lunin stretches himself, hits the ball in between his hands, hits his forehead, and leaves outside the goal. We all thought it was a save. However, every player was yelling and screaming. It was saying, go, 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 go. And it came out to be that the ref had to look to his watch to confirm if it was or was not a goal. And it was conceded a goal. It was gone inside. Giovanni Simeone started at minute number 9 of the game with a score. And you saw Real Madrid start very, very slow. It's very common. Real Madrid gets a lot of goals. Most of the goals this semester and previous years has always been in the first couple minutes of the game because they tend to start on a little slower pace and then gathering up the rhythm and ramping up. And this is something that some of these big teams are trying to take advantage on Real Madrid. And this is something that Carlo Ancelotti has not found the formula. And not only Carlo Ancelotti, this has happened to several coaches that they do not find the formula to inject that energy from minute 1 or second 1 all the way to second number 90, minute 90, and whatever they need to go. So Real Madrid comes inside, concedes a goal, but immediately wakes up. And we're talking about not even over a minute, Rodrigo Goes comes inside, scores a magical goal because Brahim Diaz comes back, recovers the ball right in the midfield, goes and starts dribbling, dribbles one person, passes to Rodrigo. Rodrigo does some magic dribbling and comes inside and scores his first goal. Something that actually just ramped up the whole Santiago Bernabeu, put a lot of energy in the stadium, and made the game very efficient afterwards. Then it comes out to be, guess what? Who else? Jude Bellingham. Nah. Yes, that same player, the player who's in his moment, he's smoking hot right now. Minute 22, he puts himself in the right position, and with the header, he comes inside and puts the game 2-1. Real Madrid ahead. With this, actually, Jude Bellingham was able to score 15 goals of his first 16 games with Real Madrid. Something unheard of. This is actually a record initially, personally, even for Real Madrid, because we didn't have any other player in the history that actually scored 15 goals in the first 16 games. And Jude Bellingham is starting to create history in Real Madrid. And we know that Real Madrid has a lot of names as the mega superstar that we know, that we're talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, Santillana, Di Stefano. We got Raul, we got Hugo Sanchez, we got Benzema, we got so many players that have been legendary in Real Madrid who's come inside. And to be surprised that a midfielder is actually making this record, it's something that is very, very, very positive. We are just seeing the beginning of this young superstar, and he's actually now showing that he was cheap on his price. Everybody was talking, it was too much to pay over 100 million pounds for him. Well, guess what? He's coming out to be very cheap for us after this moment. Nothing. One thing, another record that Jude Bellingham is actually achieving in this match by scoring this goal is that Jude Bellingham is the first player in Real Madrid that scores 4 in the first 4 games of the Champions League. His first 4 games dressing as a Real Madrid player, he scores in every single match. Right now in the Champions League, that is something that has never been achieved, and he just achieved that as well. So we could talk how good this player is coming inside and showing off on this game. Now, then after that, we go to halftime sitting down 2-1, and it comes out to be that Naples comes in the second half. Guess what? They go aggressive. They go looking for the goal in the first 2 minutes of the game. Andres Sambo Aguisa actually makes the score. One thing that I thought it was a big mistake from David Alaba, he got lost on his defense. They were sitting down. They were also impatient. They were starting very slow, as we talked about a little bit earlier, and that caused the Naples ties the game 2-2. And this actually just ramps up Naples, because we're minding that Naples at this moment a point will put them in a great position that if they win the last game, they could be leader of the group. Now, a loss will cause that they will not be able to win the group, even if they end up tying the Real Madrid, if Real Madrid loses the last match in the Champions League. Now, what we're seeing right now, this is actually the duel about who's going to the next round guaranteed and who's going to be in the lead of the group at this moment, where Real Madrid needed a victory, Naples needed a victory, and to this point, they were tied 2-2 in minute 47. It wasn't until Carlo Ancelotti started making a little bit of rotations and brings inside the young kid that I just mentioned to you, Nico Paz. He comes inside close to the minute 80 and immediately grabs a ball, spins around halfway, gets in front of the goal, does some magic dribbling, and scores his first goal on his debut in the Champions League. This is something that I bet this kid is never going to forget in his life, because you know how it is that you're competing for the first squad of a Real Madrid, a dream team for you, and it comes out to be that it's your debut and you score on your first time that you're playing on Champions League. This is incredible. I know he was psyched. He was so happy. He didn't even know how to celebrate. It was exciting just to see him actually perform and make that score 3-2, because this gave a little bit of ignition. I apologize for that. It gave a little bit of ignition for this young player. Now, during the second half, we did see that Joselu had 3 opportunities that should have been scored, not scored. And this would have given a big advantage of Real Madrid. They could have been at this point 6-2, something that is, 3 opportunities. Actually, it would have been almost 7-2. It was going to be like 6-2 at this moment, because it was 3-2. And then it comes out to be that Jude Bellingham sees how Joselu was looking down now in the game. He was starting to go against himself. He was falling into the untrust. We know that when you're in a slump or you're in a part that you're not happy with yourself, mentally you start damaging yourself and you don't start trusting yourself and you start making decisions that doesn't go right. So Bellingham saw this, he read this, and he said, you know what, let's try to see if we can help him so he can score. And guess what? Bellingham grabs the ball, does magic. He could have shot for goal, but he decided to cross over the ball to the other side, where Joselu actually made the 4th goal. And at this moment, Bellingham goes and hugs him, tells him to celebrate, but you can see that Joselu was still feeling embarrassed with his crowd, that he actually asked for forgiveness by making a sign as forgive me for the part. He puts his head down. He didn't even want to celebrate because he knew he did not take advantage of the previous opportunities. However, this goal tells him, hey, we trust you, because all the squad went, hugged him up, made him feel family, made him smile again. And he's probably saying, you know what? No worry. We'll get the next one and we'll continue. So this is a boost of emotion for him. And it was a great performance from a teammate like Jude Bellingham. This gave 4 assists also for Jude Bellingham. So he's just racking up. This kid is something else. When he touches the ball, he's doing magic. Not only that, he goes to play the match. All we know that he's wearing the number 5, which is the same number that his idol used to play, which is Zidane. And he went and he bought the cleats, the same cleats that Sisu used to use in Champions. He went and he used them, and he used them by coincidence in this game. It's amazing what he was doing, what he does to honor his idol. And then after that, you get to see him enjoying on the park. But then after the game, what happens? Florentino Perez goes and meet with Cholo Simeone. There's their captive that they saw each other in between in the hallways. And you can see Florentino Perez smiling at him and say, hey, your kid scored. I bet you're happy and proud about that, right? And you can see that Cholo points at number 2. And we can't tell if he's saying, he promised me that in the second match he was going to score, or if he was going to score and here guaranteed. However, we did figure out that Florentino did make a little smirk to Simeone and said, hey, how old is your kid? So who knows? Maybe we'll have a Simeone playing in Real Madrid. I don't know. I can't tell you that much, but I can tell you right now that Diego Simeone is a proud father. He has a good legacy of a player, his young son, who's coming inside and making goals on a Real Madrid scale in Champions League. This is very positive for him in his future. But then at this point, Real Madrid, leader of the group of the Champions League, coming up this weekend. He's leading right now the league. He's tied with 35 points with Girona. Girona had a little slump this weekend on a tie, which cost them points, and it put them in a position that they're tied with Real Madrid in the first place. And then after that, we have Atletico Madrid, which has one less game than everybody else. He's with 31 points, tied with Barcelona, who's 31 points. But guess what? Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, they will play this weekend, which one of those two squads is actually going to leave some points on the table, which is going to put them further away from the competition of the lead, which could be very dangerous for one of those two clubs. And especially if it's Barcelona who loses. And another part that it comes out that Barcelona after this week has Girona, which is another club that is right there in the lead, fighting for that leadership in the group. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Barcelona outcome in this weekend with the league or the next 2 weeks. But it's going to be very interesting in this part to see also Real Madrid is seeing if they were able to finish in the first place by the half of this season. So it's going to be a boost of morale if Real Madrid can finish in the lead of the league. We know that January is the nightmare for Real Madrid. So if they can probably come in with this boost, who knows? These young kids probably come in January, turn everything around, and just overtake the league after that, or simply just maintain themselves fighting and put themselves in a closer position. So we got to continue to watch this. I'm back from vacation. We're back with Futbol con Bamban. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hit your like button and to subscribe. Don't let the comments go away. Just make your comments. Let me know exactly what do you think. And we're going to come up with a lot more rumors. We're coming in December. It's almost at the point that is the end of the year. And you know what happens after January 1st? It's the market opens up again. And there's already rumors about, possibilities of Kylian Mbappe could sign with Real Madrid. Erling Haaland has a clause that he could come in and start negotiating with Real Madrid. There's tons of stuff. There's Jimenez coming in from Feyenoord, and there's rumors to be a striker for one of the European leagues. Liverpool wants players. There's tons of stuff coming up in the market. Now there's debate. Is Kylian Mbappe worth, hiring for Real Madrid now that they had Jude Bellingham? There's tons of stuff that we're going to make shows about, and it's going to be very, very occupied month right now with Futbol con Bamban. So stay tuned. Thank you guys so much to be here. And if you stayed into the end of the show, I'll see you until next time, and I'll continue to do my effort to always bring you guys up to date with everything you need to do. So until next time, Futbol con Bamban. Ciao!